Alright, so today's video is on my newest purchase. It's going to be an introduction video on the Dominion Arms model 1887. This one here I got for just over $300 Canadian. Also does come with a full-length stock, but I'm keeping this one on because I already have an 1887, well, a 1901 with the full-length stock on it, and this is just going to be a fun gun. So what I'm going to go over is what this gun is and what it isn't, just as an introduction. Mainly because I do own an original 1901, I could sort of go over a few of the things about this gun that most people haven't had a chance to see. Alright, so going over some of the basics. What it isn't is craftsmanship of the same time period as the Brownings or the Winchesters. You could tell that this was made quickly and for fastest sales or fastest way possible to get them out the door. It's normal, it is expected. Still, it's a decently good replica for the price. You could get better ones, obviously, but they're actually coming close to what you could buy the originals for. So if I had a choice, as I did, I bought a 1901 for that. Alright, what else it isn't is technically a very useful gun for hunting, since it is a short barrel on it and cylindrical bore. As I said, it's mostly going to be for fun. Now, getting into the real things and the comparisons. This is neither an 1887 or a 1901. It's a mix of the two combined with some Chinese add-ons, basically, that they decide to do for ease of manufacture. So, first thing that differentiates it from Brownings, from the finish that you see there, it is all cast and then machined from the castings. If my 1901 is cast, you can't tell, just because it's all machined even on the inside here, which leads me to believe it was actually machined from a block of steel rather than a casting that was then just machined to clean up a bit. Second, the 1887s and the 1901s, the trigger, it's basically a leaf spring that comes across here that gives this trigger it's basically movement. Pinned here, and then there's usually a screw that you'll see up on the top here holding a spring in place. This is a coil spring. It's a lot stiffer than the actual 1901 ones, and it's a pain to take out because you're forcing against the spring the whole time to put it back in. Whereas with the 1901s, you just have to unscrew the screw and it makes the trigger go in a lot easier. Alright, now things to show that it isn't an 1887 model. One, you've got the lock here, which connects like that. The original 1887s don't have that. In fact, this two-piece trigger, well, two-piece lever here, is a 1901 invention. On the original 1887s, they don't have this. It's a single piece, and there's no lock for it. So you can tell the finish on them is rough. They don't fit perfectly like you would expect them to. I could show you in another video, or you've seen in another video, my 1901. The fit and finish is much better. As I said, you could see that this is quickly made. These aren't even in line properly. There's an actual angle on it. Some more you could see from the casting, not refinished at all. Next thing, because the trigger's so stiff on it, cocking it like this is a really stiff thing to do, and it does take quite a bit of pushing. Alright, as you can see right through this gun, once again, as I said, the Brownings are a little tighter, or should I say the Winchesters made by Browning are a little tighter, so you don't see as much air coming through it. Also, the 1901 has a hole here to relieve gases in case you get a primer blow through, which I have had with my 1901 because the firing pin was a little slightly, not damaged, but rough. Ended up, I smoothed it down. I haven't had a problem with that since. But this one here doesn't actually have that. I guess I deemed it not necessary. So the extra cost of making one was put into, I guess, making profits. Alright, two other things that steps away from the Browning line. One to do with the 1901s, which technically makes this also closer to an 1887, would be that if you've seen my 1901 video, the hammer has a piece in the front. It's a second funny shaped piece of steel, and what that does is it goes in ahead of the firing pin. Sits about here, I guess you would say, on the gun, but on the other side. And it prevents the firing pin from being kept forward when the gun is closed up. And once the hammer starts releasing, that starts releasing too, so it allows your hammer to hit the firing pin and set off the cartridge. This doesn't have that, but at the same time it's not made like the original ones for that either. The firing pin has a spring in there, so you can't see it properly, but see it sticking out. And when you go here, you can push against it and it comes back in. So before, when I was pushing it, the hammer was pushing back, and now the little spring that's in there is pushing back. So those are little differences that do make it obviously not exact replicas of either gun. Some of these things are in order to make it easier to manufacture. Some of these are just, I guess they consider safety, but either way, it just gives it a different gun feel to it. I said I bought this gun knowing that it wasn't going to be a Browning or Winchester in 1901 or in 1887. So I do expect this to be a little rough, and I do expect some problems with feeding in that, which I haven't shot yet, so I can't tell you exactly. But from the looks of this and the movement that I'm getting here compared to the 1901, I do expect some issues. I might end up taking apart my 1901 and modifying this to make it tighter so I don't have any problems, but like I said, out of the box this thing should be firing okay. It's not going to be a beautiful, smooth gun to shoot, but I didn't buy it as that. I bought it so I could modify it into an original 1887 style one because I didn't feel like buying an original one. I have a 1901. This way I don't have to, I could shoot technically in 1887 once it's all modified and working smoothly. That doesn't require me to make black powder shot shells. Anyways, I will be making videos on that later on too. So stand by for those. In the meantime, like I said, $300, you really can't go wrong with one of these. When they were out at $500, I wouldn't have picked one up. And if they didn't have the extra lever that I wanted for this one, I wouldn't have picked it up either. Just because I didn't want to modify the original lever on it. I want to be able to keep the gun in its original configuration and switch out the lever to put it into an 1887 setup. Anyways, if you have any questions on this gun, please leave them in the comments, and hopefully I'll have this and a shooting video of it soon. Like I said, for the price, I'm going to expect some small problems, but I do expect it to shoot right out of the box. So I will be doing a test video on that right away before I do any modifications. And I'll let you know if I consider it worth buying for people who don't like fixing up their guns at all. Anyways, thanks for watching. And if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments.